where the United States would divide occupation duties with the Soviet Union. Mr. Rusk said in his memoirs that he had no preparation for this task, and all he had was a National Geographic map.
There was nothing on the map to indicate a natural boundary, so they simply drew a line approximately halfway down the peninsula at the 38th parallel, just north of the capital, Seoul. In the years that followed, this arbitrary border hardened into a barrier, separating families and loved ones from each other.
This was a disastrous decision. The Koreans had no input on the country being divided. They were bitterly opposed to this. No Koreans accepted this dividing line as anything permanent, and most wanted to get rid of that line at any cost.
One man determined to reunify Korea at any cost is Kim Il-sung, the legendary father of Kim Jong-il. Chosen by Soviet Premier Joseph Stalin to lead North Korea, he will become like a god to his people. But his dream of reunifying his country will result in a devastating catastrophe. Kim Il-sung's unique position among communist dictators after World War II is rooted in his fierce independence and defiant spirit. He begins his career as a guerrilla fighter against the hated Japanese.
Kim wasn't just a Soviet stooge like some of the people that Stalin was putting into power in Eastern Europe. He was a genuine nationalist that the Koreans could respect as someone who really spent his whole life up to that point fighting the Japanese. And he did seem to have a certain charisma.
The legends of his daring do, of course, were very much used, and the cult of personality immediately began to be put in place and has continued to this day.
The systematic development of Kim's cult of personality depends primarily on a ceaseless campaign of propaganda.
It seems as if Kim Il-sung was the sole independence fighter against the Japanese. That Kim Il-sung is a military genius. That's how children are taught.
We
were told that he crossed the river on a bridge of leaves, and that he threw pine cones, and they turned into grenades. We heard this over and over, and we really believed that. So naturally, we idolized him.
The idolization of Kim Il-sung goes beyond the usual barrage of half-truths and hyperbole. Kim enhances his godlike image by exploiting long-held cultural traditions rooted in Confucianism.
He developed an ideology called the Juche, that is self-reliance, which is based on Confucian civilization. It's Confucian civilization in the sense that you have the family system, and the state is an extended version of the family, and therefore the leader is a father. And North Koreans think that way about their leadership. The leadership they support because they're the parents. And they don't choose their parents. They're simply there. That's what underlies the Juche ideology.
Juche uses the kind of organic metaphor of the whole society, the state as a single body, with the head being the leadership and the people being the main body of the society, and that you can't have one without the other. People have to move as one entity.
Unlike Marxist-Leninist ideology, this is more spiritual determinism-based doctrine, which is Confucianism. When you have the will, you can move the mountains.
On June 25, 1950, Kim Il-sung launches a massive invasion of South Korea.
In Northeast Asia, the latest hotspot in the Cold War,
Almost all analysts in the United States thought that it was Joseph Stalin who told Kim Il-sung to go conquer South Korea.
Russian-controlled North Koreans with typical red disregard for international decency, invading their fellow countrymen to the south.
That was the official script, but we know today that it was the other way around. It was Kim Il-sung who asked Stalin.
Stalin didn't like this idea at first because he didn't want to provoke the Americans.